Hi there, Capricorn. Welcome to your September 2023 reading. Let's start the month with Bronwyn, forgiveness. Now this month we're in Virgo season, okay? So representing your ninth house, your house of your mindset, your perspective, your house of your perspective of life, of your faith as well. And this Virgo season is extra powerful because we have a Mercury retrograde in Virgo as well. Virgo is in rulership and exaltation, meaning that Virgo is in its optimal position. So this is a powerful Mercury retrograde for us to all be involved in, to be engaging in. It's expanding your mind, it's expanding your views, it's expanding your knowledge and your wisdom, your awareness. So you are very likely getting a lot of information that will change your perspective. Okay, there's a really powerful opportunity to change your perspective, change your views, maybe even change your beliefs, your faith at this time. So a lot will be coming up for you in terms of like maybe where you can apply a new meaning to situations in your life. If there's circumstances in your life that have made you feel a certain way, you may see it from a different angle this month with that Mercury retrograde and start to see a new way of viewing it. So for example, if somebody has hurt you, if there's a situation where you've been hurt, where you have been let down, where you've been abandoned and betrayed. Now I'm saying this because Venus has also been in retrograde in your 8th house. Now that started on July the 23rd, and on the September 4th, so the very first few days of September, she'll move direct. Now that's in your 8th house, and she has been conjunct Lilith. So that conjunction with Lilith has been all about abandonment and rejection and betrayals. And in the 8th house, this is a very intimate position to have this. So this is people that you've been very intimate with, people you've opened up and bared your soul to, it could be, if they've betrayed you. Now with the Mercury retrograde there's this opportunity to see it from a different perspective and to forgive. Now that can be challenging to hear if somebody has hurt you. And it may not be for everybody, but there's this opportunity to forgive and remembering. I know that you've heard this before. I know that I'm just telling you something that everybody already knows, but remembering that forgiveness is for yourself. It's not for the other person. It does not excuse the other person's actions. It does not excuse their behaviors. What it does is it releases you from it. You're releasing yourself from the pain of it. And so that can be the perspective shift that's available for you throughout September. So oftentimes when we have been hurt by people, we weave storylines, we weave narratives around the situations, around the people, and around particularly ourselves. You know, often we can make it mean something about ourselves. For example, we're not good enough, or we deserved it, or something like that, you know, a negative narrative. So with the Mercury retrograde, we're looking at you're looking at your narratives, your stories, your storylines that you repeat, the stories you tell other people, the stories you tell yourselves, like stories of worthiness, stories of love. Love hurts, love is scary, love isn't safe. Those kinds of storylines could be coming up for you, okay? Coming from situations where you've been wounded. These wounds create distrust and resentment as well, and that closes down your heart. It closes you off from the potential of love and connection in the future. So no matter what has happened to you, the antidote is forgiveness. Forgiveness is key for your freedom, not for the other person's, for yours. Forgiveness allows you to mend and repair your heart so that you can be open to receiving love again, Capricorn. So that you can be open to being vulnerable. So the 8th house is the house where where we are very, very vulnerable. It's the house of our vulnerabilities. And that's what Venus has been doing, this beautiful work there, bringing your vulnerabilities to the surface so that you can mend it, you can repair it, you can create harmony around it. So narratives around your love life, narratives around your heart space and what's safe. Forgiveness is how you can reopen your heart and begin to live life in a vulnerable way that enriches your life. It's how we create more richness and wealth within your life again. Now, I have done a separate video on both the Mercury retrograde and the Venus retrograde. Okay, I'll link them down below. Go and have a look at them because they tell you how to do this work. So in those videos, I've done a separate tarot card reading for each zodiac sign, but there's a wealth of information there about how to actually work with this energy, how to utilize it so that you can be in charge of it, so that you can be in charge of how these things unfold and how this influences you in your life. So you're coming into this reading as the Two of Swords. Again, see, I feel like you could have made up your mind about something. You may have decided that something means a certain thing. So you've applied meaning. So whatever situation this is for you, it will be different for everybody. But whatever situation it is, you have decided that it means something. And possibly, most likely, it will mean something about you. So if somebody rejected you, for example, then maybe you have decided that means that you weren't good enough. That is now becoming your truth. You're carrying that in you, with you, into every situation that you go into. You're carrying that meaning. You're applying that meaning. So you're projecting that into your future. So if you meet somebody else, you're saying you're already coming into that situation with I'm not good enough narrative and storyline. You may be speaking it physically. You may not even realize you're speaking it to people. You may see people, you may be dating people. I'm just giving this example, but apply this to whatever is happening in your life. But you may be dating people and they just keep not returning your calls, not wanting a second date or whatever, and you just can't even understand why. And it's this unconscious narrative that you're not even aware of that's putting them off because they're hearing your words. They're reading your energy. They're hearing your words. And it's coming from this unconscious decision that you've made about yourself, about life, about the situation. So this month, you have this opportunity to see that. Mercury retrograde brings this stuff into the conscious so we can be aware of it. So things that are normally unconscious to us become a lot more obvious, particularly the events and situations in our lives that come up. They show us where these unconscious behaviors, these unconscious programmings are holding us back for us to change them, to shift them. And so you may start to see some narratives coming out, some meanings that you've applied coming up and be like, oh, that's why that's happening. Is possible for you. And it's about changing your mind. That's really that simple, Capricorn, to just change your mind. Two of Swords. You may be in the process of doing that now. Anyway, changing your mind about decisions you've made, about particular situations from the past, coming from a more forgiving perspective, particularly forgiving yourself for applying those meanings in the first place. And the universe needs you to be more open and receptive, okay? So maybe there is this resentment or this closedness that's coming from this distrust from previous situations that need to be forgiven so that you can be open and receptive again. Six of Coins. Yeah, there's this balance that's wanting to come in, but if you're not open for it or you're not open to it, then it cannot be received by you. So that 8th house vulnerability, if you're not able to be vulnerable, then you cannot receive the wealth that is on the other side of vulnerability. It can involve being humble. I get this feeling with this 6 of Coins card that you are required to be humble. Maybe there is situations that you have been quite stubborn in, you have been quite harsh with, that you've been decisive in a harsh way. And the 6 of Coins is asking you to be a little bit more humble, to be a little bit more relaxed, to be a little bit more easy, to forgive the situation, to forgive God or source or whatever you call it, to forgive yourself. And that in that forgiveness mode, you are relaxing into and easing into a more open-hearted space. See, the Venus retrograde has been all about opening your heart. And it's been drawing your attention to where your vulnerabilities have been exploited or where your vulnerabilities were not honored or respected. And so it's a deep work you've been doing, Capricorn. It's hard work, or it's very raw work is the word, really. You've been opened up to rawness, and so this is this opportunity to take that to the next level of forgiveness and receptivity. And the environment, yeah, not surprising. 5 of Cups and 10 of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So the environment is showing you where there's been heartache, where there's been loss, where there's been pain. Someone's maybe, this is rejection, this is breakups, this is feeling a loss of some sort of sadness. And it taking a heavy toll, 10 of Wands, heavy toll on you. The 10 of Wands also can mean, or for me, it can mean like resentment and jadedness. Like it's almost this jaded energy coming out. Like I said, where you've made this decision from a painful place. This decision comes from pain. It comes from the ego. It doesn't come from open-heartedness. It doesn't come from forgiveness, right? So it comes from you've been hurt. The ego has stepped in and taken charge and made this decision that it will never happen again. And you'll wrap these narratives around any decisions in the future to keep yourself safe because of the pain that it's caused. This pain may be happening in the now, may be happening right now. September may feel very painful and heavy, or it may be old pains, old wounds coming up with all the retrograde energy. Things from the past can come up for healing, for forgiveness. So we have the 9 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the 9 of Wands. See, this is why the forgiveness and healing is so important, because there is an opportunity here. If you stay in this mode, if you stay in this with this perspective, if you continue to along the track with the perspective that you've applied, with the meaning that you've applied, and you stay in this painful place, this resentment, this jadedness, you know where that's going to lead you. You know where that's going to end up. Everybody knows where bitter people end up in life. So the forgiveness may be very challenging. It may not come easily, but in the long run, so it's hard work now for long-term gain. Or you can take the easy route now and have a pretty miserable life in the long term, basically. Because with the 9 of Cups, what comes out is that you have the ability to create a wish. You know, it's the wish fulfillment card. Something that you really want is available to you. Something that you've really wanted is available to you. But to get to it, you need to move through these defenses and move through vulnerability. Everything that we want in life is on the other side of vulnerability, right? If we want deep, rich, connected, loving relationships, we have to be vulnerable. If we want a career that's full of fulfillment and purpose and meaning, we have to be vulnerable. If we want a loving family, a caring family, a large family that is really connected and close, we have to be vulnerable. If we want wealth, if we want riches, we have to be willing to be vulnerable to get there. Everything that you've ever wanted is on the other side of vulnerability. So you have to open up to that through this state of forgiveness to get what you want. Now, the other thing about the 9 of Cups is an indicator to tap into and utilize the feelings of gratitude and appreciation at this time. This month, it's a great idea, a great way to tap into this forgiveness energy is to be grateful and appreciative of what this situation, what this 5 of Cups has brought you. Find the silver lining that you can be grateful for to turn it around. Wheel of Fortune, things turning around. So this is turning around for you. And whilst you have been through a lot, the 9 of Wands indicates that you've been through a lot. This has been hard. 10 of Wands, 5 of Cups, 9 of Wands. You have persevered, you have gotten through it, and now you're in the position where things can turn around, but you have to be open to it, Capricorn. We have the Hierophant and the Ace of Cups. So with the Mercury retrograde, It is making really beautiful, harmonious vibes to all the energy that's happening over in Taurus, particularly around the 15th, around the middle of the month. There's a new moon in Virgo, okay? In your ninth house of expansion, expanded headspace, expanded perspectives, and it's making really positive vibes to Taurus with the 5th house energy. So Taurus rules the hyphen. That's why I'm telling you this. There's this ability to tap into the 5th house to turn these things around, to improve your mindset. Now, the 5th house is the house of our desires. Nine of Cups. It's the house of our passions. It's the house of our creativity. It's the house of our inner child and our children. Okay, so it's tapping into that childlike exuberance, the things that bring you joy, the things that light you up, the things that are uniquely yours, your unique creative expression, the things that open and overflow your heart. Ace of Cups. There needs to be this open-heartedness. With the 5th house, not only is it the 5th house is ruled by Leo, but we also have that Venus retrograde in Leo. So that Leo energy is really important for you, Capricorn, this month. Leo rules the heart. Venus rules all things to do with the heart. So this is about opening your heart. It could be love, like a relationship, a new relationship, but I feel actually it's not really indicating that. It's indicating anything to do with the heart. It's about having an open heart. That's how we move through forgiveness into this open-hearted space so that we can receive all the things we want through vulnerability, okay? That's what's coming up this month for you. It is a mark of a very strong and a very courageous, brave, and beautiful person who can continue to have an open heart even when they've come through these kinds of obstacles, okay? So even though you have had a lot happen to you, you've been through a lot, to be successful, to have an open heart is the most successful, is the most brave, is the most honorable thing that you can do at this time, and it will be rewarded by the universe. And we have the Ace of Wands. So 2 aces. There's a lot of potential this month. And really all that's been asked for you is to forgive and open your heart. There's not that much to do in relation to what the possibility is for you. So there's potential for brand new things to manifest in your life, brand new inspiration to come through, that 5th house energy, creative inspiration, a creative direction. This is your life force energy. This is the spark of life within you, that spark that you feel when you're feeling passionate. So if your life has been very dull, has been very dispassionate, has been very dissatisfying, this is the month when you can turn it around with that Mercury retrograde energy, turning your perspective around. It's really about changing how you're viewing it. That's how we do it. That's how you're going to do it. Just changing the narrative that you spin around it, changing how you see it, how you view it, what you tell yourself that it means. And as you change that, as that turns around, by the end of the month, you have all these opportunities knocking on your door. You'll have new potential. You'll be able to create something new with this new perspective. Okay, and we have illumination and love matters. So yeah, it definitely could be, this could definitely be about relationships. Venus is the planet of relationships. The 8th house is the house where we relate to people on that deepest level. So it's the relationships where we literally merge with other people. We literally, our souls merge together. It's like what happens beyond marriage when you merge your life and your heart with somebody else to become one, a component of a whole, you know. So this could be about that. The love situation may come up for you. There may be this opportunity to have a new relationship or to mend an old relationship through forgiveness, forgiving somebody and talking through it, getting through it and coming to a new arrangement, coming to a new, more loving, more amplified position. The illumination card, like I said, with the Mercury retrograde, it's illuminating all the unconscious programming, all the subconscious belief systems coming to the surface. Things are being illuminated for you, places where you have applied limiting meaning to situations, to people, to relationships. Okay, they're being illuminated. You're able to see it now more clearly than you've ever been able to see it before. Now, you can choose what you do with that information, but my recommendation would be to uplift it, to improve it, to choose to find the limiting beliefs that you don't want to carry forward with you and choose something different to replace it with, a meaning to replace it with. If you've got a narrative that you're constantly telling yourself, for example, like, let's use an example of, nobody will ever love me. Okay, that's an easy narrative to repeat. You can say it in so many different ways. You may not actually specifically say those words, but you're kind of saying it with the words you're using. Like, if you're constantly talking about how you're single, how you're lonely, if you're constantly associating with other single people and you get together and you talk about being single all the time, right? That's an example. This will become very obvious to you. It'll be illuminated to you that that's a narrative that you have been telling. That's something, that's a meaning you've applied to yourself and to your life. And that perpetuates it. The more you say it, the more you talk about it, the more it becomes real. It becomes cemented in your physical reality. Your singledom, your singlehood is very, very clearly defined in physicality, meaning you cannot meet people and become a part of a relationship when you continue to tell that narrative. So it needs to change. Whatever narrative that comes up for you is illuminated for you. It's the same sort of idea as finding a different way of saying or a different way of talking about your situation that applies a new meaning that will take you in a new direction. And this month is time to surrender to receiving support and love. Allow the love and support of others in rather than trying to handle everything yourself. This can take the pressure off and simultaneously nurture you. So letting people in. The way we let people in is we have to trust again. We have to learn to trust again. Again, with this forgiveness card, if you're holding on to resentment, if you're holding on to bitterness, you're keeping your heart closed, you're keeping yourself in distrust, and you keep telling yourself you're not safe to trust, that perpetuates that vibrational signature, and that's what you will receive back. You will receive situations that you're not able to trust. So turning that narrative around, remembering though to be discerning about who you do trust. Trust yourself to make the decisions about the people that you can and can't trust, because not everybody is trustworthy. Not everybody will honor you. So don't just give your trust to anybody, but believe that you have the ability to choose the right people that are safe to trust. And so therefore, it's not really trusting in them, you're trusting in yourself. You're giving yourself the support you need by choosing and being discerning. And that allows you to be able to be open-hearted, to let these kinds of love matters into your life, to receive support and love from other people again. Master the step you are on. So that means, right, not living in the past. When we're holding on to bitterness and resentment, we're living in the past. And not living in the future. So when we project that into the future, like this always happens to me, people always hurt me, nobody loves me, nobody wants to be with me, we're projecting that into the future. That's not mastering where we are at now. That's not in the here and now. Okay? That's worrying about the future, being hurt over the past. So we need to bring it into the here and now. What's happening here and now? Master where you're at right now. Stop worrying about the future. Let go of the past. Forgive. And focus on what's going on now, because there's these two aces available. If you can just turn your attention There's potential here for you, Capricorn. There's new things available for you. Things that are not marked by your past, and things that don't have to be the same in the future. With the aces, they can be anything. That's the exciting thing about aces. They're not quite defined yet, so you can choose how these are going to grow in your life. So choose a narrative that is supportive. Remind yourself that you are a soul spirit being. When we have the ability to tap into trust, to open our heart, we are being a soul spirit being, right? We're remembering our connection to the divine. We're remembering that we are bigger than the here and now. We're bigger than reality. We're bigger than what we're engaging in. There's more to it. It's more eternal than what we believe. And, these little things are not as important. This is all a journey. You're on this journey, and this is the next phase of your journey. Let's not take the past with you into the future. Let's change things. Let's make things new, make things different. And develop an awe and reverence for life. Yeah, and so this is that Nine of Cups as well, that appreciation, that gratitude. That's how you come into this forgiveness state of being. See, gratitude, appreciation, and love, they're all in the same vibrational position. So if you can tap into any one of those, if you can tap into gratitude, then you can tap into love. You raise your vibration to where you are able to tap into and access love. So being in awe can help to relieve any resistance, can help to relieve any blocks, any resentment, any bitterness, and turn things around for you. See, things, Wheel of Fortune are turning around for you, but you need to put the work in. The Wheel of Fortune doesn't just drop things in your lap, right? It rewards work. So you need to prepare the soil. You need to prepare your mind. Your mind garden needs weeding of anything that's limiting you, and you need to plant flowers so that they can grow. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that, Capricorn. That's your reading for this month. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. That helps me so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a really beautiful month.